Good afternoon, and I will be sharing with you my conclusion to the question, should the drinking age in Australia be lowered to allow for teens aged 16 to have one low-strength beer in a party environment? And I will be sharing the process that I used to come to this conclusion. For starters, 18% of teens aged 12 to 17 drink in Australia according to Drinkwise. The number is shrinking, however, the number of people binge drinking is going up, and there are many factors towards this. These include the growing inclusion of technology, the social use of alcohol, the use of alcohol as a coping mechanism, and the addiction of alcohol. How does this relate to parties? I'll get to that. First of all is the social effect of alcohol, particularly among teens. According to research, the least responsible drinkers are those under the legal drinking age, and this is due to psychological factors. Teenage rebellion happens everywhere and is used even after they've, reached in between that gap. However, due to the lesser rate in which teen drinking is happening, the social acceptability of drinking follows suit. How does this uh, how does this relate to the question at hand? Teens generally, especially in rural parts of Australia, this is generally used more responsibly. Generally, in fact, the way alcohol is used in parties in cities now is more towards purely a social effect instead of coping or purely get drunk. This shows the increase in responsibility as far as drugs and alcohol go when compared to how it was. These facts make me believe that the use of alcohol in parties in low amounts is already happening with teenagers within this threshold, so why not make it legal? This way it can be managed, the government can be more specific in the way it's used. The next question I explored was the social use of alcohol amongst adults within Australia, and specifically the urban areas. What I found was the use of alcohol mirrored between the teens and parents. If their parents got incredibly drunk every weekend, then the child would be completely unreasonable when it came to alcohol as well. This information is fascinating as it is a running trend throughout the research. Teens tend to copy the habits of their parents even though what they are doing is generally fueled by teenage rebellion. This is especially fascinating as it doesn't reflect the law at all. The law's thoughts on the matter consist of the use of alcohol amongst teens is irrational due to their lower capacity to make satisfactory decisions that wouldn't lead to regret later on in life, which by this researcher's definition has been completely disproven. Sort of. There are other research out there which kind of states the facts that the teenage brain hasn't completely developed, but I believe that that isn't really a necessary factor. The next question that I wanted to explore was the actual addiction of alcohol and what would happen if it was consumed in low amounts to teenagers. I base this, a connection on this with the Prohibition period in America, as the connection to the question is quite solid. During the Prohibition period, the alcohol available was just basically pure hard liquor. It is terrible. The use of hard liquor is terrible for you even in small amounts. However, due to the large amount of people who drank it and got drunk and became addicted to it, the government kind of said, we're going to make it legal again. And in doing this, they were able to sort of control what was the substances that were being made. The similarities here are the fact that the prohibition of alcohol just meant that dangers to the human body, both physically and mentally, became worse, as illegalizing it meant that the government couldn't control uh, the limit of what was being sold, and what was being sold could have, which it was homemade alcohol that hypothetically could have been 80% alcohol and could have killed you instantly. Illegalizing alcohol to teens just makes them want to drink it more and will drink whatever is lying around, which links straight back to the psychological factor. Which brings me on to my last point, and that is the physical effects of my second last point, that is the physical effects of alcohol, and that is the cancerous cells can reach places like bone marrow, which can restrict the creation of red blood cells, which then can restrict the amount of oxygen that gets to all different parts of your body, which causes a whole lot of life-threatening issues. Alcohol can cause cancer anywhere it goes within your body, and it goes literally everywhere. It goes through every major internal organ and travels through the bloodstream, which does go everywhere around your body. This is equally as prominent in adults as children, but it does beg the question, like, which does beg a question for a later time, that should it be illegal at all? Physical effects to your brain is what differs. There are a plethora of diseases and mental disorders that you can get from underage drinking. Some that don't affect much, but some that are literally schizophrenia and different forms of psychosis. These are very prominent reasons as to why many children underage don't drink. However, according to studies, the low use of alcohol, which is what I am arguing, which is what I'm sorry. However, the low use of alcohol, which is what I am discussing, believe it or not, has benefits. Does the opposite to binge drinking, which is it reduces the risk of heart disease, which I know I didn't believe it either, and can reduce the ischemic stroke. Plus, the use of low alcohol could accustom the teenage body for later in life, you know, social activities such as schoolies on their 18th birthdays, which means at that time they won't have to get their stomach pumped because they have never had alcohol and it's schoolies, so they're going to drink like way too much. I believe that when thinking about all these effects and all these questions and all in the amount of research that I've done, I believe the answer is yes. The drinking age should be lowered to 16 to allow teenagers of that age to have a single low strength beer, along with the condition with supervision. I believe that with supervision, the teenager, won't then drink copious amounts of alcohol and put themselves into a coma and get all these, ill-witted side effects that, some people would still get, like, even if they were adults, right? But, um, thank you for listening. Yeah.